Travers Bay, B-A-Y Nature Preserve. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, and then on page 2, the clarification typo, Rubing is spelled R-U-B-I-N-G-H. And there's 2 places for that. And I think in the past, Mary, you always said submitted by instead of sincerely. That's all the ones I have.
Any others? Hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the May 20th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of May 20th, 2025 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Anybody have any changes?
I have none.
Anybody else? All right, then I will make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we move to citizen comment.
Correspondence?
Sorry about that. Correspondence.
I have none.
I figured that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see. Citizen comment then? We have a couple, I
Agenda?
believe.
Number 4?
None related to
Nothing
the
related
board
to
that I
the-
know of.
Agenda.
Okay. So moving on,
We skipped over number 4.
what was?
No, we didn't.
No,
that
we
was
passed
approval of
motion,
agenda.
Okay,
He did that one before 3.
okay.
but then I
Sorry.
went to 5.
He's bouncing all around.
We can bounce around a little bit, right? This is, it's Tuesday night. It's a beautiful night. I'm trying to get out of here.
Sorry.
All right, so we move to consent agenda. Anybody wish to pull any of the reports?
I wish to pull number 5, Fire Department.
All right. All right, any other reports? Hearing none, then the rest of the reports are accepted by consent. Sharon?
I would like to pull the Fire Department report, and just to point out, we have Mike Velding is retiring from the Fire Department effective May 31st. He's been our firefighter for 40 years on this department. Started, his wife and Sharon and Mike started when I started, when we all started the Torch Bay ambulance at the time and the fire department at the time. So I want to give kudos to Mike in this meeting, so.
All right, very good. All in favor with the commentary on the poll report fire, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you, Sharon. All right, special reports. Andy, we'll start with you.
Yes, had another, excuse me, Planning Commission meeting last night with the continuation of 2 items. One, we updated a definition of short-term rentals because it was not a defined term in the new zoning ordinance, so it's now a defined term. So we went forward with that. Then when approved going forward, there'll be a hearing for that, a public hearing for that. But pretty straightforward change, just to clarify. The other bigger topic from last night was we continued our work with the master plan. We have draft questions, survey questions that'll be going out to the community. I think there's about 33 or 34 that'll be going out electronically with an electronic tool called SurveyMonkey. And then also they'll be available for hard copy as well. They'll be going out right at the end of this month or the very first part of July, all leading up to a planned open house in September.
Wow.
And we have several chapters that we've been reviewing thus far with, they're kind of background chapters for the master plan that we've been going through as a group. The real meat, though, is going to come when we get the survey back and do the open house. But the idea is to try to get things done by the end of the year.
How do you get the survey out?
I'm sorry?
How do you get the survey out? Or-
Survey Monkey, it's electronic through emails, any contacts that we have. So we'd have to ask Sarah the details of how to do that, though.
Okay, so I mean, we need to get contact information from people then.
Well,
Right.
Are constant
No,
contact
we
help or
start
no?
with constant contact.
Okay,
I mean, that's always been open. So
Okay.
you-
And we would do some sort of an announcement too, so that people would know it's coming. And the
Okay.
people that don't want it via email or don't want to do it electronically can come and get a copy.
okay.
So,
All right.
Bob, the only other thing I would mention is that one other thing that we talked about was the current master plan is very typical master plan structure. It's got a bunch of different chapters up front, a ton of background stuff, and you have to read like 40 pages before you get into anything kind of relevant for the plan. So what we're probably going to do with our master plan is restructure it so that you kind of have the mission and vision up front. You got some real relevant meat around what's, as far as the background stuff that's important, then you get right to the main portions of the plan, and then put the other stuff in the background as like an appendix or as exhibits. So we're going to restructure it to try to capture the reader a little bit more quickly.
Nice.
So
It's good. Thank you. Well, wait a minute, that's probably not saying a whole lot. I mean, how do I follow up the finance report after that? I know it was. I missed the meeting. All right, moving on, financial overview. I forgot my page, so I'm gonna,
No
I
FOIA?
don't have a FOIA update.
oh, you don't? I know.
No, I
I
don't.
told you that.
I know, you asked about correspondence.
All right, well, I'm still in a hurry.
Number two, okay.
Ah,
Well, thank you, Mary, for a great report.
I want to get in on that.
All right. Financially, we're still in very good shape. We're pretty close to budgets. Our income doesn't come in until December, so our expenses are of course higher than our revenue during the first 6-7 months. Our cash has changed primarily because of the fire truck deposit and the road work deposit. Both of those combined for about pretty close to 525,000. So otherwise, we've got cash, 2.5 million, which is pretty much in line with where we are every year. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to give me a call or the clerk's office for any other details. And with that, all right, we have no old business, we have new business. We have one item. And so any questions for Mike? Mike, you want to start? And then Kevin, you can give us a brief background on this firefighter. He wants to be a firefighter as well, right?
Yeah, it's a collaborative spirit between Kevin and I. We had an application, and I gave it to Bob last week, so it should be in your packet. He's a firefighter from downstate who moved up here. He retired. He worked for the Department of Defense for almost 30 years. And I haven't met him yet, but Kevin and Ted have met him. I've missed them both times.
I met
He was
him.
here. You met him. He comes from downstate, Addison Township, and his references came back very good. I got a reference for the fire chief and from another reference. Also, he worked full-time and made 45% of their volunteer runs on the department, and they have about 800 calls a year in that township, so that's quite a few runs working full-time. And he seems to be pretty dedicated. So he's gonna work for us per diem, part-time, per diem, and he's gonna be with a volunteer fire department. As a matter of fact, he's going to be there tomorrow night for your training. So it's kind of a first-time adventure for both of us to have somebody that wants to be part of our whole team. So I think that's pretty awesome. So anyhow, I would recommend that you bring him on board, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions, Sharon?
I have a comment. I know they interviewed the people that they talked to. I also, when I got the application, saw Addison Township. And a very special dear friend of mine is the clerk there at Addison Township. So I was on a long, lengthy chat with her, and she's jealous because he's retired from down there and moved up here. And this is the second person we got from their township in our township. Now, he's owned property here for 6 years. So anyway, great reviews. And I had a nice conversation with him today.
All right. Good. Any other questions for Mike or Kevin?
It's like the most qualified applicant we've ever had.
Well, now, maybe. We
It's,
usually,
it's nice to have a duel in this
Heck yeah.
position.
I,
5 years for us to have somebody that wants to do both.
no, that's awesome.
All right.
I would like to make the motion
All right.
to approve hiring of Frederick Vander Venant. I probably sabotaged it, as a basic EMT and firefighter effective June 18th, 2025, at the rates per the township rate schedule. I took the word card out of there. Approved on March 18th, 2025.
Very good. I'll second that. Any discussion on the motion? Sharon, would you reread the motion, please?
Motion to approve the hiring of Frederick V. as a basic EMT and firefighter effective June 18th, 2025, at the rates per the township schedule, approved on March 18th, 2025.
Any further discussion on the motion? If not, roll call vote, please, Mary.
Bob,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Mary, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. All right, moving on. I've put 3 items regarding follow-up from our last meeting, along with an additional item. The first one is Creswell Boat Ramp. Kevin and I were down there this afternoon, and the one that they built earlier, and that was, what, Kevin, 4 years ago, I think he said, 3 or 4 years, was $35,000. So we took a look at this, and we think we don't have to go the full length, that there's a way to work around it. Kevin is going to work with him to redesign it. There's actually kind of a hump in the road that if you level that out, you might be able to just asphalt that section and leave the other section in place, because they can get a hose out there to pull the water out. So Kevin's going to work with him on that. Any questions?
Then come back with another bid, or,
They'll come back with a design and we'll have a discussion on it.
okay.
Is it usable right now?
If you want to try.
Well,
But I mean, there's a huge, what there? It's a-
Well, there's an old section that we use, but the problem for him is when he tries to back the truck down, there's that hump there, so he can't get down quite as far as he would like. So that's why we're thinking if we kind of smooth the downgrade, we could maybe put a ramp in there and not have to go all the way out in the water. Did I miss anything?
Is this just for Kevin? This is for everybody though, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing, there's no parking down there. And the road is narrow, so if you bring a trailer down there, they're going to be parking on the side and they're going to get tickets.
You can't park on the side of anywhere on
I
Crestwell
mean, there
Road?
was a
No,
boat
because-
hoist there today, parked right in the middle,
Yeah,
right in the middle.
we were there
It's
this
right
morning.
next to the sign that
Morning.
says Torch Lake Township Water Pole, whatever it says.
Was that a person putting it in, taking it out?
No, one of these companies dropped
Just
it there.
sitting there. Oh, must-
Well, it was gone when we got there.
oh, gotcha.
So they probably dropped it off and had a barge come in and lift it up. That's the only way they're going to get it.
So you can't park anywhere on Crestwell Road?
Not
Isn't there like a
down
right of way
Well,
any?
It's a county road
Okay,
and it's 33 feet on each side.
so you could,
I think 33 feet takes you up into the guy's, almost his border. And on the left side and the right side, there's, well,
Yeah, I
you
was-
go down there.
yeah, I know.
So There's not.
what if they want
33
to
feet.
pull 300-400 yards up and park?
They'd have to park off the road.
Right.
I don't know if they want to try to do that, but I think that's, I'll bet you that's still county road.
Which you still can park on the side.
You could, but if sheriff came by, you might get a ticket. Because it's 33 feet, even if it's grass, it's still county road
From the center of the road.
over and both sides.
Yeah.
I don't think you have 33 feet of roadway on each side of the center line.
Especially with a boat or trailer and truck or
I mean, you just
whatever.
can't pull off to the side like I do with my lawn mowing trailer and park.
Well, I think they'd let you stay there for a little bit.
Okay.
But if you go out and you leave that sitting there for 3 hours because you're running around the lake, that's probably not a good thing.
So we want to build this ramp just for the fire department
Right.
to be able to use it?
Because that was the original purpose.
Okay.
That's why you've got that sign there.
Yeah, Jason, I just let you know, that is a certified water point by ISO. That's why there's a sign there.
Okay.
And the other, to what Bob's referring to, you have one driveway to the south that connects all those homes back off of Crestwell Road.
Yep.
And then another driveway to the north, and you have that T intersection there.
Yeah.
So if it gets bottlenecked with probably boat trailers or pickup trucks, that could reduce visibility of somebody pulling out on that T intersection onto the roadway.
Sure.
But that's the only concern I see right there. I talked to the gentleman, he's going to make up an estimate. He is going to send that to me, and I'm going to forward it to Supervisor Cook, and he's also going to include some pictures of the condition that that's in right now. So as soon as I get that, Mr. Cook will have the,
Seems like you could shave some of that road down too a little bit. That's kind of a steep drop.
But that's what you're saying. That's what they're going to do.
Shave the road and that hump where the bricks are? We're talking
yes,
about?
yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Well,
So-
maybe not to the, I thought we were going to bring it down and stop where the bricks.
Yeah, I do not see
Yeah.
no need to go
Right.
a full boat ramp. You know, it's just a little partial of there, and it's degrading down at the bottom. You see ruts from the water runoff and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So this will kind of deflect everything also toward the ditches there on both the north and south side of that road.
People can get down to the beach. I mean, it's passable.
And that is for water out of the lake access and the boat, little boat ramp, boat itself then?
Well, we could possibly utilize that as a emergency boat thing if it was needed due to whatever circumstances is, but that is primary, like I said before, a water point.
For water point,
for the
gotcha.
water, for structural firefighting.
I have a question, just out of curiosity. If you're backing the truck up to get water and you've got heavy wave action, how far do you have to get the hose out the inlet? Or do you have like a big filter on the end of it?
Yes, we do. That we have different type of strainers, and normally it is a turbo draft, what we've been doing. And we have to have probably a couple feet to 2.5 feet of water for that to be underneath, and then we can draw water from the lake that way.
So somebody just kind of grabs it and runs out there with waders on and,
Just probably about boot deep on our turnout gear and drop it in the water. And then there's basically an orange ball to keep it from settling down on the bottom so it don't suck in rocks and dirt. And then it just connects to the engine and it gets primed with the water that's on the inboard engine, and it starts that circulation, and then we're pumping water.
Yeah, you got an education that the pumper's there and then the tanker's out further and the water just kind of flows through that system. So, all right, thanks, Kevin. Second item, so we'll bring this back to the board next month when we get the estimate. Second item, you guys were all copied on the most recent communications between myself and the library. I have received nothing as far as what a district library agreement is. I'd like to see that agreement before we do anything. I also asked for the information related to the millage that they charge, that they're saying is equivalent to the $80 related to the library card. I've got no reply. I'm assuming when we do, you'll all get a copy of it. So at this point, it's, I think Todd probably will come out in the same spot. He hasn't sent me his report yet, so that's still a work in progress. Last one is regarding the cemetery, and I will turn that over to Jason and Mary.
He's got pictures there.
Oh, yeah.
That's for you.
I wanted to have a meeting there, but
I
it's
don't think I gave.
not allowed.
That's what John wants to do, please, yeah, he's got yours tonight.
Well, Mary asked me to put it on for the board discussion, so I did what I was told.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, so Mary and I, we've been taking care of the cemetery since last year, and just been noticing a lot of things in the cemetery that, according to our ordinance, don't belong there. And so I brought to the board's attention that to have everybody go over there and check it out and see what we're talking about. And Sharon today went over there and yesterday and took a bunch of pictures of what we're talking about. But I mean, we got people that are landscaping their grave sites over there. They're bringing in boulders and going the full length of their site, and they're putting bark in there, and they're planting trees in there, and they're planting bushes in there, and then they're bringing benches in there. I mean, there's minimum 20, but I bet you there's 40 benches in there that that are according to our ordinance. And that just makes it real difficult for people to go in there and take care of it and mow it. The cemeteries are designed, everything's planted in a line so to make the maintenance easier. And when you have people go in there and just park a bench or landscape a grave site or plant a tree or put a solar light or a garden hose, which is fine, we can get by with a garden hose, but there's, so we brought it to the board's attention, and that's why we're here to talk about it. Because according to our ordinance, if that stuff's not supposed to be there, we'd like to start removing it, and we know we're gonna make some people upset. So we're trying to figure out what the best way to do that is if we put a notice in the paper or send an email out. The new ordinance is posted on the building. It's been there for a month and a half. People don't know about it because I was in there yesterday, and then the gentleman was in there landscaping his grave site, planting new flowers and plants. And so, yeah, we got a problem going on over there.
Gary, well,
We've got Gary and the Mortensons here, our sexton. Yeah. So
join us. Hey, Gary. I know, but we're worried about the reverberation coming off the back wall.
This is Mr. Mortensen. He's the guy in charge.
he's our sexton.
He's our sexton.
I'm a retired undertaker, so they put me out in pasture, and I got 28 cemeteries to help out.
Oh, gee.
This is one of them. Been here a long time. So, but all I do is dig graves, mark graves for people, and sell the graves for your township, which I'd be glad to have one of you do it, but it's hard to figure out, so this happens everywhere. Anyways, the biggest problem is policing the rules. And I know that the townships that I run into that have multiple pages of rules have the most problems. I've always said, keep it simple, have kind of a common sense rule. I know, like over the years, people plant trees, right? Whenever I'm involved and they're gonna plant a tree, which I usually am, go out there and stake it for the people that are gonna plant it, which is usually the landscape place here on the highway, they call me. And we make sure it's in line with like the foot end of the grave or the head end of the grave so that you can still mow. Now, some people go in there whenever and plant whatever they want. We're not there. When I am there, I tell them, you can't do that. And they go, screw you, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm not gonna wrestle with them and fight them.
Yeah.
So you almost gotta have I don't know what, a security guard. Or you can just decide to remove the stuff you don't like and fight with the people. They did this in Bel Air. They hired a guy to take care of the cemetery. They said, follow the rules right to the T. He removed a whole bunch of stuff in the cemetery. They almost had a lynching. I mean, it was not pretty. There was even lawyers involved. It'd get crazy, you know. So you guys got to decide how much of a stand you want to take and do it.
Well, what happened with Bel Air then? Did they return
Well, they
it?
ended up, the guy that did all that ended up quitting because the board said, oh, you can't make that lady take her stuff down. She's had it there 40 years. You leave her alone. And now, oh, this guy, give him his urn back because even though he doesn't use it, his mom gave it to him. That's what went on. So this guy says, I quit.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like, if it was grandfathered in, you know, they grandfathered in, and the same thing happened in Summit Cemetery about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In the new section, you know, they're following like the strict rules, right? In the old section, where people had already done all these kind of like, you know, what's in your older section right now, although your new section people have really exploited too. But, you know, in the new section, they're like heavy footing. But in the older section where like all this stuff is, they've like left it alone because people have things there, you know what I mean? The other thing Bel Air did is they made some signs and they have them posted in the cemetery, like big signs that say like bullet points of what the rules are. And I think that's kind of like deterring people from, so they can see them, you know, and know what, you know, what things are, what's, you know, what the rules are, so they're like more educated. And like when you're sending out your deeds,
When we get to a check to the township.
We're going to resend out.
And you send a deed, you have to send the rules.
Yeah.
People just don't even know there is rules. They don't know.
and when we
I've
tell
told them and they said, well, we didn't know there's a rule. There is.
people think, the thing is this, people think it's theirs. They bought it.
Right.
They paid you your $200, now it's more obviously, but I'm just saying, they paid you their original $200, so like, that's my spot.
Right.
That's mine, I can do whatever I want. Well,
Right.
I understand, you know, I lost my mom too, I have her headstone, I have plants, or 2 bushes right here next to her headstone, you know, I take care of them. But what happens when something happens to me? Like, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right, no, you're right.
I get it, in 5 years, or if something happens to me, I mean, who's gonna take care of it? You know, I mean, that's kind of what you and I were talking about on the phone. You know, the grave, it's, you know, in 5 years or 10 years, what happens to those graves when people fully landscape them, or when they get the rocks and they do all this other stuff, you know, or they get carried away with the stuff they leave on, you know, it's hard, it's a hard balance, because people love their people, right? We love our people, we wanna take care of them.
So,
It's not out of malice.
So the other thing is, a lot of
Well,
times
no.
when I dig graves, and especially in the older part of the cemetery, I have to move monuments. Sometimes I have to take a tree out or trim it up. There's a lot of things you have to do because everything's overgrown, but it's not a big problem, we get it done. But some of the stuff, like the pictures you got of the old dilapidated benches,
That's in the new
I've
section.
tried to get rid of them, but people say, no, I'm not gonna, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
No,
physically carry them out of there. I'm not a township.
It's an old block, it's an old block looking thing.
There's a lot of them, ugly, yeah.
And this one is dilapidated. It could fall apart if somebody else sat on it.
There's a lot.
One in Southern Cemetery just the other day, somebody said.
Old big rusty things out there.
It's also a liability.
That's what I was gonna say. Now, if it breaks and they
This
get
one's-
hurt, are
this
they
one's ready
coming
to fall
after the
down.
township?
It could be. But I'm gonna mention how I said that about people buy the spot. State law, they never buy that piece of.
Correct.
Right.
They have
Correct.
the right to the burial.
That's correct.
Under your guidelines and your restrictions, just so you know that. I've told people that so many times at the cemetery, go, well, I own that. I said, do you get a tax bill? And they go, no. I said, then you don't own it.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's a good point.
And
Revenue
that's correct.
stream.
And what-
Stuff up is great if you can get it done.
well, Holly put up the word grandfathered in. It's good for something back in the 1800s that are out there. We're not going to mess with some of those, but the new section is getting worse and worse. The old ordinance has been 18 years and they're still making all these mistakes in that 18 years. And then even then, with a new ordinance, grandfathered in is not an excuse because they still weren't doing the old ordinance under the old ordinance for the last 18 years. So there's mistakes all around. So the more the more of these stones and more of this,
I think we should do like
Jason.
Jason said, you guys should go out there. We should all go out
well,
there
they
together.
do, yeah. And I do a lot
Sometime
too.
when you can, and walk around and decide what needs to be addressed.
Well, that's the whole purpose of this
Yeah.
meeting, because I wanted us all to walk around about it, said, no, we can't do that because that's a meeting. We have to have a meeting.
But you can do it another time.
Individually.
Individually. So that's kind of why we brought this.
Oh, you
It
can't-
will make that a,
All 5 of us can't be there at the same time,
Well.
unless you want to record it. and-
Maybe we'll have one of you stay over there.
Three's a board.
Three support me.
Well, the thing,
I like this guy.
Yeah.
That's the one problem with cemetery stuff too. You know, cemetery, we've got a lot of boards and there's a lot of different people that come in and say, we're gonna change this, everything, the whole new park's gonna be flat, so we can just mow. Like, okay. You know, people move up here because it's northern Michigan and it's too different than where they came from. And they like it and they feel good. That blends into your parks, your lakes, and your cemeteries. People like the old style look. Believe me, they do. So if you just change it to being a basic, ugly, flat thing, they're not gonna like it anymore. And you just raise your prices a lot.
That's-
Non-resident grade, they're gonna pay.
Oh, good. well, that's because we're going to be building that whole new section in the back.
Yeah, also.
So that's the other thing.
Which,
What did he say?
You're not gonna do it.
No, we have in our budget to start looking at trees removal. So, yes, Gary.
Well, I appreciate all you guys spending all this time on these
But-
boards. I know
I would like Holly's opinion. Do you think we could post something in the local newspapers and say, a notice? Torch Lake Township is, whatever.
I think you have better luck if you, I don't know about the papers, I don't know how many people read it. to tell
Oh,
you
they
the
read
truth.
them.
I think maybe use,
Oh,
social media.
Overheard in
Yeah,
Elk Rapids,
exactly,
over,
social media, or I think you post a sign right in the front of your,
cemetery.
going into the cemetery.
But I mean,
Right.
for removal, we need something, a notice.
And like, people, like, removal is happening, or, as a board, if you're gonna decide like what you're gonna do.
Well, we've got a couple of ways to do this. We've got addresses of all the people that have it.
Not very easily.
what?
Well, I mean, the people who have bought the sites,
Sure.
you've got addresses for those people. Now, I understand
Not
some,
not for the
necessarily.
old part.
Not the,
That's
no,
part.
no,
The old part, you don't have that.
no.
all right, so I'd like your idea.
New part of the cemetery, those people are gonna be mad as hell.
I'm not looking, I'm looking more at the new section, like these things. This is in the new section.
Mostly the new section
That's really bad. It's really the new section.
there is.
There is, but I didn't even take pictures of the old part. All these pictures I took here were all in the new section. And there are rocks everywhere. And we're spending considerably more money than we ever have in the past on keeping it mowed and everything now. And so we want to make sure that it's done for them.
You know, this is interesting, talk about working on trees. Every tree in the old park along the road was planted by your township.
That was before I was born, probably, Gary.
uh,
Those old cedars, some of them are all rotten. They need to come out of there.
I've
Well,
got,
and sometimes they fall over and knock over headstones and break things and they drop a pile of mess in the fall. And it's,
There's pictures in here in the north end of the new section there. There's not a grave anywhere in sight, but there are 2 brand-new trees that are just planted.
Look on your records to see if anybody owns those lots.
Well,
not even sure what lots
I don't
they
even know
are.
what they are. We'll have to,
It's just a big empty field.
They're owned.
I know, but we,
Already planted a tree at the foot of their graves before. There might
Right,
be
no,
one-
I understand that.
One of them might have a paradise.
I'm sure that somebody bought the plot and put the tree there. But, you know, what if they don't die 30 years? And let's say the person that bought a plot right next to them doesn't die for 30 years, and then it's time to bury them, but the tree's in the way, so then the tree has to be removed. Who pays for that?
Put it in the grave.
what if it's in the wrong spot?
That's not right.
I'm just saying, what if it is in the wrong spot? So I think we need to,
There's some areas
Nip
where
it in
the
the
trees
bud
are
right
so
now.
close together. There's maple trees that are planted like 4 or 5 feet apart. I mean, it's just, in the long run, if we deal with the problem now, it'll save a problem for the future. And
Those
plus,
things to be addressed that are 4 or 5 foot apart.
plus we're about to excavate, a whole new section. We're gonna pay somebody to take all the trees out so that we can let people put new trees back in. I don't know.
Well, it's up to you guys.
and there are,
The cemetery looks pretty bad without anything. I mean, what do you want, just a golf course?
Well, but I think if you're gonna plant trees, maybe it should be laid out.
It was
Appropriately.
like a township all along the road, and they're 50 feet
And,
tall.
and that might be, but now people are just planting trees willy-nilly is what I'm saying. So now we've just got trees wherever,
Those are along the
whatever
road.
kind of trees.
all right,
Yeah, and you think you're,
so there's.
you think you're spending money now, wait until all those trees get big and that fall cleanup, the leaves that are just gonna be in there. I don't know, you stand in that section, you look, I counted 34 red maples. It's like, holy cow. Red ma, I love them. I love them. Crimson, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Crimson maples grow slow and they grow in the season, and that's why I suggest
Okay,
I tell them no pine trees. And they still plant them.
right.
a great big old pine tree that's all over the place.
Take it down.
It's on top of the graves now because it's all growing willy-nilly.
But I do think there's a happy medium between all this.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to wipe everything out completely, but I think the junk that is bothering everybody should go.
All right, Andy, you usually have a good word or two.
I just think we got to figure out what do we want the end state to look like? What's the approximate density of trees? And maybe we got to come up with some kind of a middle ground that doesn't take everything out, because then it will be a stark golf course looking graveyard. But at the same time, there's too much clutter, and I think we got to post some rules. Because you can't enforce anything if there's nothing posted, or it's harder to. But at least we can get some general rules that we can post out there for people to
That's
see.
fine.
Well, the rules are posted out there right now. They're stapled on the building. They've
Yeah,
been
but
there.
nobody's
There.
stopping at the building to read it. I agree. I think we need a big
Well-
sign when you come in that says,
And we just got to start picking away at it. And maybe we
Yep.
can, take the, kind of prioritize the worst areas and see if we can attack those. And just start making it, progress over time.
All right, so it seems, first of all, a consensus to put up signs. Any
Yeah.
disagreement to that? So we can move that, we can get pricing around that, number one. Number two, I guess what I hear is maybe a group of us, couple, whatever, to go out with Gary and try to figure out, take a section at a time and see what's good, what isn't, and then build a consensus and be consistent with what it is you want to see. That's going to take some time, but it seems to me that's kind of the first step we need to take. And if there is something that's really out of whack, we should identify that immediately and take corrective action. That would be my gut. Well, we can try to get signs fast enough. So we'll take it as a board to put together the signs, and we'll figure out how we we can get people out there to work with you guys and get something that's consistent and start with what you think is the easiest part to start with and work our way back in history by the sounds of it.
Yeah, Gary's so good with the maps.
Diplomatic, you know,
I-
people, this
yeah.
is a tender thing for a lot of people.
Oh,
Understood.
I don't want this room full of people.
I know.
So.
But if- but it-
We've got to,
There are more rocks out there than there are headstones. And Gary has the mapping, so he's so he could tell us whatever.
so Gary, why don't we set up some time?
Yeah.
Let's do next week, if you're available. You give me your schedule, I may be
Holly's got
more
it.
flexible.
Believe it or not, they keep you really busy.
I was going to say 28 cemeteries, you know?
So another thing, even in the old ordinance, way back, you have to have a base to put your headstone on. There are some out there that have no bases. So if we contact the people, can we say, you need to go to our sexton and get this fixed? Okay,
All right, we'll start taking some steps on that. We'll work with you guys as well, because part of this is being able to take care of the lawn appropriately. So we'll put our heads together.
Then we're gonna get it done, baby stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this spring, we took a lot of stuff out of there. You know, people put Christmas wreaths out of there. They're supposed to have them gone within 2 weeks after Christmas. They're not. So we took a whole trailer load of Christmas wreaths, broken glass, plastic pots that are deteriorating.
And we could take a whole nother trailer load tomorrow of stuff out of there. Every time we go there, there's more.
I think some of the neighbors bring it down in control.
Well,
A lot of
yeah,
it-
My parents, I couldn't get in to get
well, I agree to that, but when we went there, everything was still there and the snow had been gone for 4 or 5 weeks. I
And a
mean,
lot
so-
of it was stuff that had been there for years. I mean, we're not in there trying to take down something you just put out yesterday. I mean, I get it. I have people that are buried too. But, you know, people leave stuff and then they go on with their lives and then it bakes in the sun and it's pieces of plastic or, you know. I mean, I don't want to take a car off of a kid's grave, you know, like I don't want to do that. But
Yeah, you know how hard it was to leave that red stripe? There's a red stripe beer out there. Every time I mow it, I look at that thing. Yeah, there's
no, people just,
one grave site's got a pack of smokes, another one's got a couple of full beers.
I got rid of those.
Some garbage from 55 county roads dispersed around the cemetery, and so that's what we do at Central Lake, and most people throw this stuff in there. I know you still have to get rid of that,
Oh, yeah.
but at least they're not.
What do you
just
think of
dumping it
that?
behind the building like that.
We do have some trash cans there along the building. To that, I agree. I think some of them should be out. Yeah. Yeah. I know we showed up there, the raccoons had destroyed it
as
the
long
one
as
day.
we're talking about that cemetery, I thought we were gonna remove that old wooden fence along there too. Is
That's
that
coming
still
out
go-
probably, maybe even this week.
Oh, okay,
We'll
so
get it.
that's,
Yep, slowly.
We just bump into it with the mowers. No.
I knew that was gonna be removed and it's still there, so.
All right. I think
It was
we'll-
before you and me.
I think we've got a plan of action for this.
Speaking of that, Kevin, I don't know if the brush pile is getting kind of big over there. I don't know if your fire department burns brush piles or if you want me to torch it. If you guys want some practice on a brush pile. Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're gonna do it. We'll throw those back.
That
No,
wind
I
just,
want- I
that
wanted to
wind
put
just
them all
blew
around the
right into the
garage.
pile.
That's why I thought, and I still think that we need to make something, put something in the newspaper. I do
Well,
think
I
We
do
can
too.
that we're working on cleaning it up and please.
We'll
And
do
on the
that.
Torch Lake Township website,
We can do that. We can do constant.
Bob's,
contact.
your desk
My
supervisor's
monthly-
thing, yeah.
My monthly letter. We'll start getting the word out.
Part of it, remember, we've always had a thing in the ordinance that a bench had to be made out of granite.
Right, that's what it says there.
Yep.
It's still in there like that.
Yeah, it
Yes.
still is.
So it has to be
No.
There's every kind of bench in there, Gary.
This is the ugliest thing. It's right in the middle of everything.
Well,
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got a plan of action, and we'll give you an update next. board
Stay
meeting.
tuned, Gary and Holly. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for being here.
All right. I've got nothing for informational purpose. Citizen comment, do we have any?
We have Meg Ackerman
All right, Meg?
to speak on the Naquima Trail.
Good evening. I'm here wearing several hats tonight. So I'm a resident. We bought our home back in the early 90s and then moved up here permanently in 2016 when my husband took a job down at Munson. I'm also on the steering committee for the Torch to Bay Trail Committee. And then I'm also here because I'm also on the TART board. I'm the president of the TART Trails board. So, and the reason I got onto TART Trails board was because I was really excited about the Naquima Trail coming through here, among all the other trails. So what I want to express tonight is my husband and I are enthusiastic support for the Naquima Trail here in Torch Lake Township. We both understand the importance of staying active as we age, which for us includes walking, biking, hiking, those kinds of things. My husband's a neurologist. He spends an awful lot of time talking to patients about the importance of physical activity for people with Parkinson's disease, dementia, multiple sclerosis, any of those kinds of things. And additionally, we are fortunate to be grandparents of a growing passel of grandkids who love to come and spend chunks of time up north with us. So having a safe place to bike and to walk for our grandkids is really important to us. That said, the traffic counts along this corridor have increased over the last 30 years, and they continue to increase. We feel less comfortable walking along the shoulder of 31 because we do live here. I didn't say that at first. I guess we live at 1568 US 31, right across from the Torch Port there. We feel less and less comfortable out on the shoulder. Even that section that MDOT widened a number of years ago. We can't turn back time on traffic counts increasing. They're going to continue to increase. There's nothing realistically that we can do to halt the increase of traffic, but we can do things here in our community to ensure that we have a safe and comfortable place for our residents to walk and bike. And the Naquima Trail will provide that safe passageway for our residents to get out and walk and for us to be able to connect with other community members and to be able to get around the community. We're really thrilled that the residents in the community put forth the money to buy that property up at M88 and 31, and that TART Trails was able to negotiate the purchase of that property. That property is a gem, and I think that's going to be a wonderful little gateway for our community with so many opportunities to build community for our residents. Finally, the Naquima Trail, to me, is very important for our community's children, providing them with a safe way to move about the community, to get them away from screens, and to providing them an opportunity to get physical activity, which is very important. So my ask of you guys is that in terms of moving into our future, we request that you guys adopt a philosophy that recognizes that active transportation, biking, walking, that sort of thing, should be just as important to this board as the traffic that comes through here. So let's prioritize it. Number two, when you're working on the master plan, consider the quality of life offered to our current residents and prospective residents. Trails, parks, and placemaking are all key elements in a community that has a quite high quality of life. And number three, as you work on the Parks and Rec plan, please be sure to align the plan with the Naquima Trail and any other trails that may be coming into the community that will connect our community to other communities. So creating spaces where residents can walk creates a greater sense of community, opportunities to meet our neighbors, and improve health outcomes. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations on your new assignment.
Jairus Rubing with an H. I'll make sure I get it right this time.
Yeah. It's
Sorry.
German, the H is quiet.
Sorry.
Are A couple of updates before the Antrim County Commissioners for our next meeting. The Veterans Affairs has given us a report. We have 1,553 veterans in Antrim County. Continues to see a number of retired veterans move here and enjoy northern Michigan. Our Antrim County Animal Control last year, they received 599 complaints. They issued 400 warnings and they gave 7 tickets. In our building department, the number of permits this year through May is 305. That's 40 more than at this point last year. So continuing to stay busy. A number of them have been pole barns, lean-tos, that sort of thing, but some houses too. And then the Antrim County Commission on Aging, so far this year, they have served over 55,000 meals.
Nice.
And that's, some of them are Meals on Wheels and some of them are dine-in, so but that's total meals.
5 different locations, right?
Yes.
A lot of meals. All right, Jairus,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You missed your daughter.
That's it. I don't
She
have
was
anything.
working this morning, so she was tired. Oh. Wait till I see her.
All right, board, is that it? Final comments? Andy, anything? Jason?
No, I'm just glad we had this cemetery talk, so.
All right, we'll figure some out. Sharon?
Yeah, thank you for bringing it to our attention. And thank you for the Mortensons to kind of work with us too on this. And we'll get it going and make it nice again.
Mary?
Nothing.
I have none. I make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
7:57.